Hello, hello, hello. No one is on yet, which is good. So I can get stationary. Hello, hello, hello. Okay, y'all. All right, how's everyone doing? Yes, I am walking. I have had a crazy, crazy day. So please forgive me. Please forgive me. I am walking to get stationary. I was determined that this live will happen. Everything that could go wrong has went wrong, but it's okay because I am ready to roll, y'all. Can y'all see me okay? Can y'all hear me? Can y'all see me? Can you hear me? Okay. Thank you all. I appreciate. All right. I am in the process of opening various salons. I'm not sure if you all know that, but I am, and I got caught in like DC traffic. OMG, but I am stationary now. Yes, I am live again from my. Oh, wait. Sorry. I'm live from my hotel. So, all right. So tonight, thank you for your patience, y'all. I appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So have y'all finished the book? Oh, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for your patience. You all know that I'm with Curl House. So Curl House is my product line. I did have a hair salon bearing the same name, but I recently merged with another salon, Just Main's hair salon, and we are opening like 20 different salons in the Northern Virginia, Richmond, and Tidewater area. So I am in Northern Virginia now, preparing to open a natural hair salon up here. So if you know anyone that's in Northern Virginia, we have a natural hair salon coming your way. So anyway, I am stationary now, so I can get going. And tonight, hey, Miss Evelyn, tonight we are talking about how you retain hair. So I know what we've been doing for the past, what is it, 6 weeks now? I've been talking to you about how to actually grow hair. So in terms of growing hair, you're growing hair from the roots. So your hair grows out of the hair follicles, out of your scalp. So we have talked about, as a quick recap, we've talked about making sure that you clean your scalp, aka wash your hair, wash your scalp more frequently, because healthy hair grows from a healthy scalp. So if you have a lot of buildup, if you have like super dry, itchy scalp, that's going to affect your growth. So we've talked about the importance of cleaning your scalp or washing your hair. Have y'all been drinking your water? Have you been drinking your water? So I talked about the importance of drinking water. Water helps with growth. Water is life. So drinking water is key to making sure that your proper blood circulation, water provides oxygen, your hair follicles need oxygen to grow. Then we talked about proper eating. Have y'all made any changes when it comes to your food? Any changes at all? Okay, Angela, you've been drinking lots of water. Good for you. Have you all been drinking? Have you made any food changes? So have you given up something or have you replaced something? Anybody at all? Anybody? Okay, I know it's a delay when I'm live, so making sure you're making some sugar. Minimizing your intake of sugar. Sugar creates inflammation in the body, among other things. So feeding your body what it needs for healthy body, because healthy body also produces healthy hair. So Gina, you said nope, meaning no, you haven't done anything. It's okay. You can always make small changes. And then we talked about, what is that? We talked about food. Oh, scalp massage. That's what we talked about. It's been 2 weeks as opposed to last week. We talked about scalp massage, the importance of massaging your scalp. So we did that about 2 weeks ago, making sure that when you massage your scalp, it increases that blood flow and blood circulation to your scalp. And that's what your hair needs, your scalp needs to grow. So I see people are coming in. All right, y'all are eating more pumpkin seeds, awesome, eating more vegetables, eating more fruits and you all. I'm glad that you are making some changes. I see somebody, Miss Martha, you're still working on your sugar intake, huh? Well, what I say is do it in moderation. You don't have to do everything at once. It's like when you know better, you do better. But you have the knowledge. It's when you apply the knowledge is when that knowledge becomes powerful. So keep on doing. I keep on encouraging you to make those changes. Now, tonight, oh, cut out sodas. Okay, cutting out sodas, up the water. All right, you all going to see a difference when y'all are making these internal changes. You know, stuff doesn't happen overnight. The key is being consistent. So if you cut out water, cut out soda, you increase water. Start really paying attention to the quality of your hair in 3 months, 90 days. Oh, wait, I'm frozen. Am I still frozen? Oh, crap. Am I frozen? Am I frozen? Hello? Can somebody let me see? I'm still frozen. Um, I'm frozen. No. Okay. All right. Let's see. How do I send a message? Uh, no, I'm not. How do I? What I? Is it here? Do you have what it is? Okay. You are frozen, but the audio is fine. We can hear. Give me a few minutes. Hold on. Y'all give me a few minutes because I want to make sure that you can see too. Oh, we can see you. Okay, am I good now? Okay. Okay, I'm not frozen. Okay, good. All right. Fabulous. Let me put up. Okay, great. All right. So I'm not frozen. It's not frozen anymore, just slow. You are frozen, but we can hear everything. Um we can see you. So y'all can wait a minute. Y'all can see me? Okay. Let me Okay, can you all give me just one moment? You said y'all can hear me. Let me reconnect my Wi-Fi. So give me one moment because I want to make sure you see some of the demonstrations that I'm doing. So give me one moment, y'all. Okay. Let me do Wi-Fi. Okay. Hilton Honors. Okay. It's gonna come up, same thing. KOD. Capital. Okay, I'm coming, y'all. One moment. Thank you. And is it the room number? What's room? Five. Okay. Um, okay, I'm coming. One moment, guys. I apologize. Okay, so that should be done. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Is that better? I'm now connected to the Wi-Fi. So is that better? Hopefully that's better. Okay. All right. So again, my apologies. Let me get this set up. Oh gosh. Okay. All right. So hopefully you all can hear me. Oh, Lord. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. Okay. Hopefully you can hear me. Hopefully you can see me. Yes, it's choppy, but we can hear. Okay, so I'm going to keep on going. I apologize again. I hooked up to the Wi-Fi, so hopefully it gets better. Okay, so now we talked about a lot of the things internal. So tonight I want to make sure you all walk away with 5 things that you can do. Um, 5 things that you can do, not better, but we can hear you. Okay. It's a bad, yeah, I think it's a bad Wi-Fi connection. I'm not sure what's going on. You can hear me, but you can't. Can you see me? Can you all see me? Well, I may have to redo this live. I'm going to get through it. Still weird delay. I don't know about the weird delay. I apologize. I may have to do this again because I want you to see. But if you can hear me, um, I'm going to keep on going. Yes, it's in slow motion. Crap. Okay. Well, I'm going to keep on going anyway, guys. Apologies, apologies. I'll keep on going. If I need to redo it, I will. But I want to make sure tonight, if you can hear me, that's cool. I want to make sure that you all walk away with at least 5 things that you can do to retain the hair. So growing the hair, can you to another area? Can I go to another area? I don't think it's another area here. Is it another area? I don't think I can go to another area, y'all, because as I said, I'm at a hotel. Move to another area. I'm at a hotel, and all right, let me see. Is this any better? This isn't better. I don't have anything to put it on. Um, Move to another area. Is this better? Can you put some? I'm moving. Is this any better? Yes, no, thumbs up. Move to another area. No, it's not any better. Oh, okay. So it's the same. It's the same. So what should I do? Should I keep going? Okay. I'll keep going. It's choppy. I'm mad. But y'all can hear me. Okay, I may have to redo it. So it's things that I wanted you all to see, but I'm gonna talk. You all can hear me. So I may have to redo it, but I'll keep on going for tonight, and I'll let you all know if I'm gonna reschedule and do this again. Okay, thanks. I appreciate y'all patience too. Okay, so in terms of the 5 things that I want you all to do to retain length. So we absolutely focus on the scalp, which is a good thing. The scalp or the hair follicle is where your hair actually grows. So a lot of people say, I want to grow my hair, I want to grow my hair. And that comes from the scalp. And we've been talking for the last 6 weeks about all the things you can do to ensure maximum growth. Drinking water, cleansing your scalp, changing your foods, reducing your stress, massaging your scalp. Now I want to talk more about what do you do with the hair that you grow, because it's one thing to grow it and it's another thing to retain it. And what a lot of people are not doing, they're growing their hair, but they're not able to retain the hair that they grow. So tonight is all about length retention. So I want to give you 5 things that you can do to retain the hair that you grow. So the first thing, I don't know if you can see me, but I'm gonna keep on talking anyway. And if you're reading the book, you know I talk a lot about moisturizer, right? That's my thing. I always talk about moisturizer. And if you all don't know me by now, you all should know the importance of keeping your hair moisturized. And when I say moisturize, I mean water. So I don't know if you can see this water bottle, but I will talk my way through this. Water, water, water. Water is key. A lot of people are putting a lot of people come to me all the time and say they moisturize their hair all the time. They moisturize it all the time. And I'll say, well, what are you using to moisturize? And then they run off the list of oils. Oils aren't moisturizers. A moisturizer is something that contains water. Water, water, water. Great. I'm glad you all can see me. Yay. A moisturizer is something that contains water. So when your hair is dry, or for example, if your throat is dry, if you are thirsty, you drink water, right? So it's the same thing for your hair. If your hair is dry, and you all know with natural hair, our natural hair is naturally dry, then what it needs most is water. So a lot of times you're not retaining your hair that you grow because your hair is dry. So yes, it is naturally dry, but it's important that you add water-based products to keep it hydrated. Now, the reason you all see me with this Afro puff is because for this week, I do something what I call maximize the moisture. So, we're always wearing all of our cute styles. We're wearing our twist outs, we're wearing curl definitions, we're wearing braids, all of these cute styles. In certain styles, if you're wearing certain styles, you're not able to put a lot of moisturizer in your hair because moisturizer, aka water, if you have a certain style, if you put too much water in it, it may mess up the hairstyle. So for me, I don't wear a lot of fancy styles. I wear a lot of twist outs, but sometimes I just drop all the hairstyles, all the cute hairstyles, no twist outs, no braid outs, no updos. I do none of that. And I just wear this Afro puff, this nice big old Afro puff, but it allows me to kill it with moisturizer, meaning every day for about a week, I spray water. And I'm going to go ahead and keep it real. There we go. How y'all like that? How y'all like that nice afro? Okay. I'm able to spray it with moisturizer. I'm able to apply a moisturizer to it. And I can do it every single day. You can focus on this. It's not about the hairstyle during this week. It's just about maximizing the moisture because again, moisture becomes key. Moisture is first. Moisture is before the hairstyle. Keep your hair moisturized. So that is tip number one. Maximize the moisture. So as opposed to wearing getting your protective style, which we'll talk about in a moment. Can you talk through what you're doing since it's still frozen? Oh, okay. I think some of you all can see me and some of you can't. So I will talk through what I'm doing as well. Thank you, Desiree. So in terms of tip one, maximizing the moisture, I want for those of you who want to grow your hair out, I want you to take at least 1 week per month and focus on moisturizing the hair as opposed to the hairstyle. Now, when your hair is in two-strand twists, if your hair is in braids, if your hair is in an updo, you are not able to put a lot of water. Like you can spray your hair with a lightweight moisturizer, for example, when you're in these hairstyles, but you can't really kill it with moisturizer, meaning you can't put a lot of water-based product in your hair because it's going to compromise the hairstyle. So it's going to mess up your hairstyle. So when you are trying to grow your hair out, I want you to take 1 week, just wear, depending on the length of your hair, you may wear a afro, you may wear an afro puff. I have my hair in a lock sock this week, or you can put it in a band and just keep it in a puff. But every day, for those of you with locks, you don't have to. You can do the same thing with locks. You can take a spray moisturizer. I know with locks, you don't want to put a lot of heavy creams in your hair, but you can, if your locks are mature, you can take a spray moisturizer every day with mature locks and moisturize your hair. Loose natural hair. There are countless moisturizers on the market. I'm using, this one is the Coconut and Manoi Deep Moisture Milk Souffle by Design Essentials. Can you see how thick it is? Can you do this with braids? Therese, I'll address that in a moment with braids. Do you see how thick this, I don't know if you can see how thick this is depending on your connection, but it's a really, really rich, thick, creamy moisturizer. And I put it in my hair every day just to keep it super, super hydrated. So I do not put any styling gels. I do not put any styling creams. I'm not trying to lay down my edges, or maybe I may put a little bit on the edges. Actually, I think I put something on my edges, but I'm not really focused on the style. I'm just really trying to keep my hair hydrated, because when your hair is dehydrated, then that's what causes your hair to break. So again, this week we are focused on the hair. So dehydrated hair can cause your hair to break. Dehydrated body from lack of water can cause your hair to actually fall out, to shed. So, two different things. We're focused on the hair. Dehydrated hair or dry hair will cause your hair to break off. So, which is why it's going to be super important that you take, I'm going to say a week. Sometimes I do this for a full month, where I just pretty much wear Afro Puff, don't put any styling products, so that the moisture can go straight to the hair. A lot of times with styling products are designed to style the hair. Styling products are designed to give hold. So a lot of times styling products will put a film around your hair strand, and which is what it's supposed to do to hold the style in place, but that also blocks out the hair's ability to absorb moisture, which leads to dry hair. Dry hair leads to hair that is broken. So if you want to maximize your length and to retain your length, tip number one is to moisturize your hair, but not just moisturize it. Take a week out of the month. For example, 1 week, do not put any styling products or minimal styling products, and just put moisturizers. So no styling gels, no styling creams, just put moisturizer. Now, someone says water makes my locks hard. So water in and of itself, Teresa, water in and of itself is what gives life. So in terms of the hardness of the water, when you put water in the hair, water evaporates. So water by itself will evaporate. Now, I'm not saying just put water. I'm saying use a moisturizer. Moisturizers contain water as the first ingredient. So in addition to water, water mixed with, if you want to make your own moisturizer, you can do water mixed with a vegetable glycerin, which is a humectant, which means it's an ingredient that absorbs moisture. It makes the hair soft, so you can make your own. So when I say moisturizer, I'm not talking about just water. I'm talking about water and an emollient. So a lot of moisturizers have various ingredients that actually soften the hair. So not just water. Can you give the moisturizer you are speaking of again? Okay, so in terms of I'm telling you the moisturizer that I'm using now, and I will tell you the name of it because I don't know if you all can see me. The one that I'm using now is by Design Essentials. It's the coconut and Manoi line deep moisture milk souffle. It is very, very thick. Um, it has several ingredients that hydrate the hair. Aloe vera, somebody asked about aloe vera juice, has that. Aloe vera juice is great for moisturizer because aloe vera juice is a humectant. Again, a humectant is an ingredient that draws moisture to your hair. It softens the hair, among other things. So the one that I'm using is the Coconut Manoi Deep Moisture Milk Souffle. It's very, very thick, super, super thick. That's the one I'm using now. The other one that I use by Design Essential on a regular basis is the Design Essentials Daily Moisturizing Lotion. I don't have it with me, unfortunately, but it's a moisturizer. The first two ingredients are water and glycerin, so it's already mixed up for you. Design Essentials Daily Moisturizing Lotion. That personally is just one of my favorite moisturizers, because it is just over the years. Most of us have tried 1,000 moisturizers. When I bleached my hair many, many years ago, I could not find a moisturizer that could really hydrate my hair. Bleach will totally dry your hair out. So when you do put color in your hair, particularly bleach, it will require you to do much more to maintain the health of the hair. Another reason why people's hair is breaking off, but let me focus. But the Design Essentials Daily Moisturizing Lotion was just something that really, really helped to hydrate my hair, even when my hair was bleached. So that's another one that I recommend. Somebody asked, can I twist my hair with it? Yes. So in this challenge, what I'm encouraging you to do, you can, if you don't want to do an Afro puff, if you want to just twist your hair with moisturizer, even the one that I'm using, it is definitely thick enough to twist. But when you untwist, you will have a twist out, but it's not going to last long. Again, because the ingredients in it is not designed for holding the hairstyle. It's designed for moisturizing the hairstyle, which is typically why you will use a moisturizer and a styling product. Now, there are some, I'm sure there may be some products out there that give moisture. So a lot of curling creams, for example, will enhance your curl or give you a twist out. But from my experience, if you're using a styling products are designed to style. Moisturizers are designed to moisturize. So there are some moisturizing creams or styling creams, but a lot of styling products have ingredients in it that will, they're called film formers, that again place a film around the hair, but it also helps to hold the hair in place. So you just want, if you want to do a twist out with the moisturizer, you can, but just know the challenge that I'm doing is not necessarily for the style, it's for moisture. Yes, you want to be presentable. So if you use a moisturizer and twist it up, you can do that as well. It'll give you some definition, but not as much as it would as you, as it would if you were using a styling product. Okay, let me see if I can get some of these questions. Can you give the moisturizer you're speaking of? I did that. An example of a moisturizer versus a cream. A moisturizer and a cream. Most creams contain water. Oh gosh, sorry guys. Moisturizers contain water as well, so they both contain water. Creams are just thicker in consistency. A lot of times creams may have oils in them too. They add like layers and layers to your, oh, my phone keeps falling. This is driving me nuts. Sorry guys, hold on. I am really, okay. All right, I'm sorry. I'm gonna keep going. All right. So moisturizers, creams, most of them contain water as the first ingredient. It's just the amount of humectants, the amount of emollients, the ingredients that's in the product that aids in more moisture. Leave-in conditioners. I know someone said something about a leave-in conditioner. Are you using a leave-in conditioner prior to put the moisturizer in your hair? Yes. So what I did, I shampoo, conditioned my hair, deep condition. That's step number 2. I'll talk about that in a moment. I probably should have started with that. But anyway, shampoo, deep condition my hair, and then I always put in a leave-in conditioner. Yes, I use the Curl House leave-in conditioner, but there are many leave-in conditioners that you can use. And I first spray the leave-in conditioner all over. So this leave-in conditioner is a lightweight conditioner. It's not as heavy as a cream. So it's definitely light enough to use it on a daily basis. But I put the leave-in conditioner in it first, then I apply the thicker moisturizer on top of the leave-in conditioner. A leave-in conditioner is really designed to keep that cuticle closed. So, you know, when you shampoo, condition, when you disrupt your hair just from washing and condition it, a rinse out conditioner closes the cuticle. The leave-in conditioner locks in that closed cuticle. Now, because we have curly hair in general, our cuticle layer or outer layer is not going to stay flat in general, the way it does with straight hair. But this definitely helps. Somebody asked if it would turn your gray hair yellow. No, I don't have silver hair. I have some silver hair. So no, I stay away from products with synthetic dyes or yellow products because it too will turn my gray hair yellow. So no, most times when you have a white product, it's not going to turn your hair yellow. Okay, let's see. Hold up. Let me see if any more questions. So yes, The first ingredient should be water. Um, Somebody asked, how can you tell which moisturizer is best for your hair? Some products just sit on your hair. What you can do, what I recommend in terms of one way to determine if the product just sits on the hair. A lot of moisturizers, most leave-in moisturizers that are not thick like this or that are not creamy, don't just sit on your hair. Now, with cream moisturizers, one of the things that you can do, a lot of moisturizers are similar to lotion. And actually, some moisturizers I actually use as lotion because if you're bored and if you just want to pick up your lotion and pick up a moisturizer, look at the ingredients. They're both cosmetics. They both help with dryness. One for the scalp and one for the scalp, which is skin. The other for your body. So you can, if you can take a conditioner like this and take it. I don't know if y'all can see that. Did y'all see what I did? Yes, Shell. Yes, I am a licensed cosmetologist and I am a trichologist. Somebody asked me that question. So yes, I am. So if you could take your moisturizer and get rid of the ash on your elbow, then if it absorbs into your skin, more than likely it would also absorb into your hair. That's one way. Somebody asked a question, Miss Patricia, how can you tell which moisturizer is best for you? In terms of the moisturizer just sitting on your hair. So that's something that you can do. You can put it on your skin. I've tried moisturizers and I took them and I put them on my skin and it just stayed like forever. It just sat on my skin. If it sits on your skin, it may sit on your hair. Now, a lot of moisturizers, it's going to take time. So when you say sit, when you put it in, it's going to take time for your hair to actually absorb what you're putting in your hair. So it's okay if it's sitting for some time. You want it to do what it was designed to do to actually get on the inside of your hair strand. And that's when we're going to go to talk about deep condition. I'll talk about that in a moment. Shell, we are located in Richmond, Virginia, and we have salons in Northern Virginia, Maryland, and the Virginia Beach area. Okay, so, and I think that's Cynthia. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate that. I appreciate it. Okay, so I hope that we got moisturizer straight because that's just tip number one. Moisturize your hair, ladies. Again, moisturize your hair. I want you to do something different in 2022. I want you to actually take time, allocate time, focus on the moisture, not on the style. Focus on the moisture. I see your question, Patrick. I'm going to get to your questions as well. Focus on the moisture. Take time to just moisturize the hair. Okay, so that's tip number one. Moisture. If y'all have any more questions, drop them below. I'm gonna make sure I answer all your questions when I'm finished. Okay, the second thing that you could do, are y'all deep conditioning your hair? Do y'all know what deep condition means? Are you deep conditioning your hair? So again, this session is all about retaining length. Retaining length is you want to stop the hair from breaking. So if you want to stop it from breaking, you have to first make sure that it is moisturized, hydrated. Dry hair is very susceptible to breaking. So keep the hair moisturized. Allocate time for moisturizing. Second thing is deep conditioner. So deep conditioner in the hair world is really like a buzzword, honestly. Let's deep condition the hair. It's pretty much taking a conditioner, putting it in your hair, sitting under either steam or or heat with a plastic cap under the dryer and letting it sit for anywhere from 20 to 30 minutes. That's a deep conditioner. And what that does, it's going to, the steam or the steam produced from a hooded dryer will open up that outer layer. So your hair has three layers. Some hair strands are two, some are three, but generally speaking, your hair has layers. And the outer layer, the cuticle layer, is the cuticle layer kind of looks like, I don't see anything in here. I call it, you know what a blind looks like? Blinds in the house, or even shingles on a roof, or even, what is it, fish scales, how they lay. That's what your hair layer looks like. When you do a deep conditioner, that outer layer opens, and what you put in your hair will get on the inside of your hair, get to the cortex, which is the strength of your hair, to moisturize from the inside out. In terms of how often you deep condition, that varies. I get that question a lot. Generally speaking, people who are not moisturizing their hair regularly, so people, for example, who do protective styles and wash their hair once a month, then they need to deep condition once a month, because they deep condition once a month because they are not putting moisturizer in their hair day to day. So I generally recommend, in terms of deep conditioning, you can deep condition once or twice per month. So what that means, again, if you have a hairstyle, and if you're keeping your hairstyle in for a month, then it's a high probability that you're not moisturizing your hair in general. Like, you're not moisturizing it day to day. So I don't deep condition my hair every week. I don't do that. I may deep condition once a month, because I make sure that I put moisturizer in my hair all the time. So generally speaking, if you're not in a habit of spraying moisturizer in your hair, even if you have braids, you can take a lighter moisturizer and still spray your hair with moisturizer. Even if you have braids, for example, if you're wearing a wig, you could take that wig off and spray some moisturizer in your hair. So just because you're wearing a style where you can't manipulate the hairstyle, protective styles, which we'll talk about as well, that doesn't mean you should not be moisturizing your hair. So deep condition. So again, the deep condition, your hair should feel amazing after a deep condition. There are so many deep conditioners on the market. Even if you don't have a deep conditioner, yes, you can take a heat cap, can be used for deep conditioner. So if you don't have a product that says deep condition, take your regular conditioner, put it all throughout your hair, sit under a hooded dryer with a cap. If you don't put on a cap, it's just going to dry your hair out. You can do a steam treatment, so the steam goes directly to your hair, or you can put on a heated cap. Yes, you can use that as well. Or you can put a plastic bag on your head, get in the shower, a hot shower, and do it that way. Or you can take a hot towel, wrap that hot towel, plastic cap, wrap that hot towel around your hair, keep that around your hair for a few minutes. Or if all of that fails, then put your moisturizer, your rinse out conditioner in your hair at night, put on a plastic cap, and go to sleep. Your body produces heat on its own. So if you have none of those fancy tools and you need to deep condition your hair, put a plastic cap on your head at night and go to sleep. It takes longer, but your body produces heat. If you're anything like me, I'm always on fire when I go to bed anyway. So you can do it that way. And you can do that about once a month in general. Now, for those, hold on, let me look at some of these questions. So we moisturize daily. Yes. General rule of thumb. I'm giving you general rules of thumb because it varies from person to person. General rule of thumb: moisturize daily, deep condition once a month. Yes. Now, somebody asked a question about locks. Can I deep condition my locks? Now, in terms of locks, these are mature locks. Yes, you can deep condition your locks. I'm not a loctician. I'm a natural hairstylist, a licensed cosmetologist. I do locks, but there are people who specialize in locks. Locks is hair too. So just like your loose natural hair gets dry, your locks hair gets dry as well. So yes, there are deep conditioners that you can do to your locks as well. You can deep condition your locks. Now, Teresa, whoever, if you have a loctician, I'm going to recommend that you talk to your loctician as well in terms of the frequency at which you deep condition your locks. Now, for those of you who have color, whether or not your hair is locked or not. Definitely if you have color. Color meaning bleach, if your hair is lifted because of bleach, or if you have a permanent color in your hair. So if your stylist is using a developer that's a 20, 30, 40, or even 50, that would qualify as a permanent color. Or for those of you who may have relaxed hair who's listening, whenever you color your hair, you compromise the integrity of your hair and you make your hair porous immediately with color, meaning you have high porosity hair. So that cuticle layer I've been talking about, that outer layer of the hair is like permanently open, and that's going to weaken your hair. So for people who have color, you're going to need to add more protein to your hair. So generally speaking, with natural hair, I tend to focus on moisture more because, for the most part, that's what we all need. Our natural hair is dry, so we need to deep condition our hair in general. Now, we tend to forget about a protein treatment because with our hair is not void of protein. So, in other words, if you remember when we had back in the day when we had relaxers instantly stripped our hair of protein. So, excuse me, we would put more protein treatments in our hair because we had to replace what we took out by relaxing our hair. Now, natural hair, it's not the same because our hair is not void of protein because we don't have that chemical. But if you have color, if you have bleach, if you are someone who straightens like flat irons your natural hair a lot, you are compromising the protein structure of your hair. You're going to need to incorporate more protein treatments to your hair. Now, you can definitely talk to your hairstylist about it, getting a protein treatment. Now, for those of you who are natural and you tend to do a lot of twist and retwist and just do a whole bunch, style it all the time, do wash and goes, comb it, you're breaking down the protein structure of your hair because you're constantly doing something to it. So, if you are that person, then you are going to need to consider a protein treatment as well. If you are that person, you can talk to your stylist about it. I just wanted to put it out there. So, just because you're natural, that doesn't mean you don't need a protein treatment. Some of us do need a protein treatment. I have a question. I'm going to answer a few questions. As a professional, do you advise against color? I'm considering coloring my hair gray around the sides. So no, as a professional, no, I do not advise against color. For those of you who know me and know me well, or if you go back, I don't know, on this YouTube channel, I have had every color in the book. I went through a stage for about 2 years when my hair was purple, my hair was red, my hair was pink, my hair was blonde. So I color my hair all the time. Not now. I don't color it now simply because I just don't feel like it. But I do not advise against color. However, if you color your hair, you have to make sure you know how to maintain your hair. That's what I advise, because when you color it, and when I say color, I'm not talking about a semi or even a demi, or a synthetic, not a synthetic color, a color that just sits on the outside of your hair. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about when you're bleaching your hair, or if you're putting a permanent color. When you're putting that in, it's going to make your hair even drier. So if you are going to color it, make sure you talk to your stylist about how to maintain that color, because if you're not maintaining it, so your regimen is going to have to change. So what you're doing now to your hair, below, you're going to have to step it up. So if you're considering coloring gray around the edges, I don't know what color your hair is. Sometimes when you color the hair gray, you may have to bleach it to strip it of its natural pigment. Bleach is dry. Like, in terms of color, bleach is the driest that you can go in terms of color. So I do bleach. I have bleached hair, and my clients know how to maintain that bleached hair. It does require much more work. So if you are going to color it, make sure you talk to your stylist about how to maintain the health of your hair even with color. Somebody asked a question about henna. Henna. Now I've hennaed my hair too. I've pretty much done it all to my hair. Does it dry the hair? So if the question, does it make the hair drier? Henna would be like a semi-permanent. Henna's a plant. Henna is a color, but you can't really pick what color you get. From my experience with a henna treatment, henna didn't make my hair dry. It When I put too much henna, I did a henna challenge. This was probably about 10 years ago. I wasn't used to henna. I'm the type of stylist that I like to do my own research on my own hair. So I started killing my hair with henna, and my hair got so hard because henna coats the hair strand. It got so hard that I could barely comb through it. People will use henna to thicken their hair. But what I started doing with henna, I started doing henna treatment. So as opposed to putting the henna directly onto the hair, I would take the henna and mix it with conditioner. And that way it was much more moisturizing than henna by itself. It still colored the hair. My hair was kind of like in the orange red family with henna. That's what the natural color, the natural pigment of henna is. But if you're going to do henna, do some more research, but consider doing henna and mixing a little bit of conditioner in it. After you rinse out the henna, for the person who answered the question about the henna, the problem with the henna, people don't, when they cleanse their hair, you have to put a ton of conditioner in the hair. If you're not putting a ton of conditioner in the hair, then yes, it will be very drying. So when you rinse that henna out, make sure you rinse it out with water. Then you put a ton of conditioner. I mean, put conditioner, rinse that conditioner out. Put more conditioner, rinse it out. Put more conditioner, rinse it out. That's going to keep it from being so dry. Hey, is that Jazaz from Caribbean Trinidad? Welcome. Thanks for joining. Fabulous. What are some brands for good protein treatments? Good protein treatments. There are specialty treatments that can only be by a salon. Influence, I don't know if you are familiar with Influence, but that can only be purchased by a licensed cosmetologist. The one that I recommend for what I call the do-it-yourselfers, I think it's a great protein treatment. It is by Apogee. You can get it from Sally's. That is spelled Aphogee. Apogee protein. You can get it from Sally's or maybe in a beauty supply store. I think it's a great, what I call over-the-counter protein treatment. When you do a protein treatment, make sure that after you put the treatment in, a lot of treatments, the protein is going to get hard. You're going to sit under the dryer. You're going to sit under the dryer for 20, 25 minutes, rinse it out, and then put a moisturizing conditioner over it. So talking about breakage and length retention, people will do protein treatments. They'll put the protein in, rinse the protein out, and then don't put any conditioner in it. And their hair is hard as a rock and it just snaps off. So make sure you follow up with a moisturizing conditioner afterwards. Sit back under the dryer for about 10 minutes. So Apogee is the one I recommend. Someone asked me, do I work with people with scarring alopecia? Yes, I do. As a trichologist, I do work with people with scarring alopecia. You can send me an email. My email is info, INFO, @curlhouse.com. I can talk to you more about it. I may have videos on scarring alopecia on my YouTube page. I'm not sure. I think I have scarring alopecia. The most common one for women of color is CCCA. So yes, I do work with CCCA clients and other clients with scarring alopecia. My natural hair color is black. I would color it black. Okay, so if you're going black, then you probably are not using a color that's going to lift your hair and dry it out below. So you're probably using something if you're just trying to use a glosser, for example, then you should be fine. Yes, I am familiar. Let me ask. Yes, I am familiar with the Derma Roller, a micro needle. Yes, I do recommend it, but make sure you are using it properly. So I can actually, at some point, I'm going to start doing a video on how I help to restore hair. Y'all, it's coming. I promise you, it's coming. So yes, I do use a micro roller. Make sure you're. I do recommend it. Make sure you are using it properly. Make sure you're not using it over existing hair. So if you're using a micro needle, it should be in an area where there is no hair or short hair. Otherwise, that derma roller is just going to pull the hair out. Okay, I think I got all those questions. So let me see if I can get back to it. Moisturize, deep condition. The next thing is, let me see. I guess I can go to, I want to go to trimming your ends. Okay. So, in terms of how to maximize length, trim your ends. Are y'all getting the trim? Because of my travel, I wasn't able to show a picture of a client that I have where she had to cut off several inches of hair. I know I did a YouTube video, so please go back and watch it. It's called, I don't know, getting a hair trim. But you'll see how long her hair was and how much I actually had to trim off. So, what is the deal that you all do not want to trim your ends? What's up with that? Why y'all don't want to trim your ends? Why you don't want to trim your hair? I mean, why you don't want to trim your ends? Um, are y'all getting your ends trimmed? Are you getting your ends trimmed? Okay. So, in terms of trimming the ends, now I get the question asked all the time. How often should I trim my ends? Okay, CC, you said, hey, I think they're going to lose length. That is true. In terms of trimming the ends is not a haircut. Now the technique is the same, but it's not a haircut. So last barber visit was in July. He took off too much. Okay, my ends are so uneven, and I'm scared I'll cut off too much. Okay, I got it. I'm starting out, my hair is short. Okay, Gina, you're fine because your hair is short right now. So I understand as a stylist why you all are afraid to get your ends trimmed, because your stylist will cut off half of your hair. I totally get it. But you would be surprised at how much you actually need trim. Now, I'm the type of stylist. If someone comes to me, they haven't had their ends trimmed for six months, a year, I'll see that they may need several inches cut off. But I'm not just going to cut all that hair off. Did you trim your ends since you had cis Locs now? Okay, I'll answer some of your questions. I'm not just going to cut all of your hair off. I will, well, this is not a good example because my hair is curly. But when I do trim, sometimes I trim curly, sometimes I trim straight. If you come to me and say you haven't had your hair trimmed in a year, I'll shampoo your hair, blow it out with the blow dryer, not with the flat iron, and I'll physically show you how much hair needs to be trimmed. So I'll turn my client to the mirror and I'll show her what needs to be trimmed. A lot of times you can see, if you're in the mirror and when you pull that hair straight up, you can literally see, once that hair, you can start to see through the hair. So it's nice and dark here, but then when you need a trim, you can start to see through the hair. That's what needs to be trimmed off. So a lot of times you can see what needs to be trimmed off. Now, again, I'm working remotely, so I had to improvise. I'm using this as my example in terms of a trim and what happens with the trim. Yes, this is a piece of weave, by the way. So I want you to look at this weave and I want you to visualize that this is one strand of hair. Okay, even though it's a piece of weave. Imagine that it's one strand of hair. What happens when you need a trim? If you can come down to the bottom, again, one strand of hair. What happens when you need a trim? That hair at the bottom, can you see how that splits in half? Can you see that? Because remember, even though you have one strand of hair, you have different layers in that one strand of hair. When can you see the ends of your hair, your two strand twist? Okay. So If this is your one strand of hair and you have a split end, that means the layer of your hair is starting to break off. And when you don't trim it, it only, can you see this? It only continues to split higher and higher up the hair shaft. I don't know if you can see this, but this is what happens times over the years by so-called professionals doing a trim. This is what happens. See? It will, your split end will continue to split up higher and higher up that hair strand. So if you're not trimming it, the only thing that you can do about a split end is to cut it off. So yes, you can do protein treatments. So there are some products out there that claim to repair split ends. A split end, in terms of the layer of hair, means that outer layer of hair, the cuticle layer, is breaking off. It's exposing the inner layer, which is the strength of the hair. So the outer layer protects the inner layer, but once that inner layer is gone, then the main part of your hair, the inner layer, is exposed and that begins to break. So you can put a protein treatment, for example, in your hair. A protein treatment kind of patches up the hair some. I wish I could show it to you, but I'm trying to explain it. The protein treatment will patch up some of those holes or tears in the hair, but it's just temporary. So anything that you put in your hair to repair a split end is temporary. Eventually, whatever you put on it is going to wash off and you're going to be right back to your split end. So I understand that you all have had some horrible experiences with getting a trim. If you go to your stylist and if she says you need a trim, then ask her to show you, meaning show me what needs to be trimmed. She can turn you around in the chair again, pull that hair up, show you how you can start to see through your hair. That's what needs to be trimmed. Another thing that you can do, have you ever, and my hair, have you ever, let me see if I can, have you ever did a two-strand twist, for example? And some people will trim their hair in two-strand twists, which I do not recommend you get in a habit of doing. But for example, if you had any tips on trimming your own hair, I got it. I snip off the rough, raggedy ends for my individual twists. Thank you, Antoinette, because that's what I'm about to talk about right now. I understand I'm the type of hairstylist. I am like, yes, go to a professional, but I get it. Some of you all have had bad experiences at a professional. So I will give you some tips on how to do it yourself. But if you have your two-strand twist, some people will trim their hair like this. I just kind of slapped a twist in it. So you can see, I hope you can see. Let me see. Okay, there we go. When you look at your hair, if you do a two-strand twist, the hair that comes out from the root, excuse me, that's the healthiest hair in general. It's the newest hair. It's the hair that just grew in. It's the hair that hasn't been exposed to the comb, to the elements in the air, to the products. It's just the healthiest hair. So generally speaking, the hair right at the root might be a little bit thicker. But for the most part, your two-strand twist should look the same from root to the end. When that two-strand twist starts to get more and more narrow, so it looks nice and thick here, then when you get to the end, it just starts to get really, really skinny. That means you need a trim. That's what that means. It's time for a trim, because what's happening, that hair is breaking off at the end. It's getting thinner, it's breaking off, and the hair, the integrity of the hair strand is not the same anymore. It's breaking off. That's how you know you need a trim. So I recommend, Miss Antoinette, you said, can you trim it yourself? You can trim the ends. I call dust. So I don't recommend that you trim a lot like this, because when you do a two-strand twist, your hair is not even. So if you are twisting your hair up and then constantly trimming it, you're making your hair uneven. If you're going to do it like this, then you can do a dust, meaning you can two-strand twist. You may see a few raggedy pieces on the end. You can trim those off, but don't get in the habit of trimming it, like trimming off a considerable amount, because it's going to make your hair uneven. Now, in terms of how often we trim. Now, this is the general rule of thumb, ladies. General rule of thumb. I recommend that you get a trim 3 to 4 times a year. That is once a season. Put that in your head. Now, your hair grows on average a half an inch a month. So I don't have my ruler. A half an inch a month on average. You are not trimming off. If you're getting in a habit of trimming it once every 3 to 4 months, so even if you do it every 4 months, you're trimming off an eighth of an inch, a fourth of an inch. You're not trimming off a lot. You're just trimming off a little bit. Remember, the ends of your hair, it's the oldest part of your hair. It's the part of your hair. This hair has been on my head the longest in general. This is the part of my hair that's been exposed to the comb. It's been exposed to the elements in the air. It's been exposed to all of my 1,000 products that I put into it. It's been exposed to the sun. So in general, this is the part of your hair that's old. So it needs to be trimmed. It's the part of your hair that's weakest, and it's the part that breaks off. And that's what keeps you from growing your hair out. Again, if you all, I don't have the picture, but please go and look at this YouTube video on a trim. I have a client, her hair is all the way down her back. Because of COVID, she wasn't able to come in and get her trim, and she just started doing her hair at home. And I had to cut off inches, and you can see it, and you can see right through her hair. So let's see, why does it matter if it's even if you're wearing it in a twist, Cynthia? So it matters if it's even if you're wearing it in a twist, because you're twisting it for the hairstyle. So, I mean, you're trimming it for the hairstyle. Now, if you are a person that's only going to keep your hair in two-strand twists and you're never going to do anything else to it, then that's different. But if you're like most of us, if you want to switch it up, you don't want your twist out. You don't want to keep trimming your hair in the twist, because it's going to make your hair in general uneven. So if you want to wear a twist out, for example, if you're constantly cutting your hair in the twist, then your hair is going to be uneven. Some of you have your hair cut in a hairstyle, for example, which is why, okay, I'll put my email in the chat, which is why you don't want to get in the habit of trimming it in the twist, because you're not trimming it for the style. I hope that makes sense. Very true about two-strand twists and uneven trims. Yeah, so Jess, I know you don't want to go to a stylist, but what I recommend, even if you can find the stylist who will trim your hair, have your hair washed, wash it, blow dry it, show you what needs to be trimmed. Again, if you see what needs to be trimmed, you'll understand why we as stylists want to trim off this hair. Now, like I said, I don't just trim my clients' hair. Well, not my regulars, but in general, I'll show my clients what needs to be trimmed. Then she understands why it needs to be trimmed and what needs to be trimmed off. Now, for those of you who are just completely against trimming off, for example, 3 inches, I'll tell my clients, well, let's just trim an inch for this month. You'll grow that inch back in 2 months on average. Remember, hair grows a half an inch a month. So if we trim an inch this month and you grow an inch here, then in 2 months you come on back and we'll trim another inch. So you can gradually trim your split ends if you are opposed to trimming them all at once, if it's a lot. Okay. Let me see. Let me go through. And in terms of trimming my own hair, even as a hairstylist, believe me, y'all, I have tried. I can do it in the front. It's very difficult to do in the back. So even as a hairstylist, it's hard for me to do it. So it's hard. It would be hard for you to do it and to do it even. So I don't know where you live, Antoinette. I would love to trim your hair, but I don't know if you're in Richmond. Um, so generally speaking, get in the habit of trimming it once a season. And if you don't do it once a season, even if you don't do it 4 times a year, do it 3 times a year. At minimum, do it every 6 months. Now, for those of you who do a lot to your hair, for people who are do things, I'm trying to put this, for people who do things like wash and go. So for people who are not doing a lot of combing and pulling and manipulating their hair, you may not have to get that hair trimmed every 3 months. You may be able to go twice a year, or even twice a year, or 3 times a year. But people who are really manipulating their hair a lot, then you are the person I'm talking to. You are the person who really need to get in the habit of trimming the hair all the time. I mean, excuse me, trimming the hair at least 4 times a year, 3 or 4 times a year. And again, it's just a little bit. Okay, now, all right, so I'm gonna wrap up in about 15 minutes. I want to get to 2 other things. The other thing, I did put my email in the email somewhere, Shell. So again, let's see. What moisturize, deep condition, trim your ends regularly. And the fourth thing in terms of trimming, in terms of length retention, is properly detangling your hair. Okay. Properly detangling your hair. A lot of times we are breaking our hair off, ladies, because we're not properly detangling our hair. And what happens now, this afro, I'm not going to be able to show you how to properly detangle the hair because of the hairstyle I'm wearing. But a lot of times before we are cleansing our hair, we're not going through a process to properly detangle the hair. Or when we are shampooing our hair, we're combing our hair out. So do you all detangle with combs or brushes? Do y'all have a preference? My preference is a comb. As a hairstylist, I prefer a comb. Some professionals prefer a brush. Some prefer the brush. Some prefer the comb. I'm not a big fan of the brush. I don't know. Call me old school. I don't know. But give me a detangling comb. Now, depending on your hair, now the only time you are really combing your hair is when it's wet. So when you wash it, you shouldn't be in the habit of combing your hair when the hair is dry. I did a big chop on someone years ago, and she came back a year later, and the lady's hair was about the same length. It was short, and I asked her, "Well, did you go and get your hair cut over the last year?" And she said, "No." And I couldn't figure out. I said, "Well, something going on where your hair is not growing." So we went through this whole consultation, and then she told me she picks her hair every day. I said, "You do? You pick it every day?" She said, "I pick it every day." I said, "Well, do you put anything in it before you pick it?" She said, "No, I just get up in the morning and I just pick my afro." So she was picking her hair dry. And we can't do that with natural hair. That's just going to cause our hair to break off. So when we are detangling our hair, make sure it's 2 things that you can do prior to washing your hair. For those of you who are in protective styles, that's the 5th thing. Wearing protective styles. That's where I'm gonna wrap up. If you are in a protective style, or even if you are washing your hair once a week, make sure that you are properly detangling your hair. So if your hair has been sitting, for example, in 2-strand twists, you've been wearing a twist out, your hair is shedding, even in 2-strand twists. But in 2-strand twists, unlike when your hair is out, in 2-strand twists, the hair is shedding, but the hair doesn't have a place to go. So it stays in your hair. Or even if you have your hair in braids, for example, for a month, and you take it out and your hair, it looks like your hair is falling out. It's not falling out. It's just hair that sheds every day, but it gets trapped in your hair. And when you go to wash it, you wet it, and all the shed hair will tangle or will attach, particularly if you need a trim. it will attach to your hair, attach to the split ends. A lot of times you all see like balls at the end of your hair. That is shed hair that comes out that attaches to the ends of your hair, creating a knot. Okay, focus. Let me focus. I'm talking to myself. So when it is time for you to wash your hair, one thing that I recommend that I want you all to try, if you haven't done it, you can do a pre-poo, meaning there are pre-poo products out there. But when I say pre-poo, I'm talking about putting a coconut oil in your hair. This is what I want you all to try now, because again, we're all about length retention and minimizing breakage. That's how you get length retention. What happens when you wash your hair? And for those of you who co-wash all the time, what happens to your hair is that imagine this rubber band your hair, right? This is your hair. When you wash your hair expands. It does this. Then when it dries, it contracts. And then when you wash it again, or when you like wash it, wet, saturated wet, it expands and then it does this. So imagine your hair doing this all the time. Your hair is constantly doing this. So if this rubber band is your hair, if I keep stretching this rubber band out, what is it going to do? Eventually, it's going to snap. And that's what our hair does. So with washing your hair, I recommend that you put coconut oil in your hair the day before you wash it. Of course, this is contingent upon what type of hairstyle you're wearing. But if you're able to slather coconut oil all throughout your hair the day before you wash it, on average, it takes about 8 hours for coconut oil to penetrate the hair strand. So coconut oil is one of the oils that gets on the inside of the hair strand, and it strengthens the hair from the inside out. So if after you so when you go to wash your hair, then your hair is full of coconut oil. It's going to minimize that contraction and keeping the hair strong. So that's one suggestion. What that's called, the scientific word for those of you who are science geeks like me, is called high growth fatigue. High growth fatigue is what happens when you're constantly wetting the hair and it keeps doing this and it breaks off. But coconut oil helps that. So in order to minimize breakage, try putting coconut oil in your hair the day before you wash it, or give it 8 hours. That's going to keep that hair strand strong so it doesn't break as much when you wash it. And when you do detangle it, the first thing to do is to finger detangle it. That's number one. You want to be as gentle as possible. Finger detangle it. I don't have a lot of hair coming out because my hair is out, so my hair has been shedding. I kind of do this every day, and the shed hair that comes out in my hand. So I do this first before I wash it. I go in and I finger detangle my hair. Then I shampoo and condition it. Now, for those of you with who has a lot of hair, what I recommend, when you shampoo the hair and then when you condition it, your rinse out conditioner, comb through your hair with a rinse out conditioner. You should have a conditioner that has what I call slip. You should be able to put it in your hair. It should slip through your hair. And always detangle your hair with conditioner. Well, let me not say always. Some people use shampoo, and that's okay too. If you want to detangle it with shampoo, some moisturizing shampoos have some slip. I typically will detangle it with the conditioner because of the slip. And when you detangle it, take it in small sections. Start from the bottom and work your way up. Now, I don't want to break my hair off, so I'm not going to do it. But start from the bottom, work your way up with the conditioner still in your hair. This is the rinse out conditioner for those of you who have a considerable amount of hair with the conditioner still in it. After you detangle a section, then put it in a big twist or a big braid. after, there we go. Put it, so after you wash and condition your hair, you're going to have all of this conditioner in your hair, and you're going to have, your hair should be in big braids or big twists. And when you wash it out, don't take those twists out. Rinse that conditioner out with rinse the hair with the conditioner. Oh, what am I saying? Rinse the conditioner out with the braids or twists still in it. Because that, if you go through this process to detangle your hair with the comb or with the brush, a brush is done the very same way, starting at the bottom, and gently brush the hair up to the root. Gently. The operative word is gently. Wet hair is the most fragile hair. Even though you can only detangle it when it's wet, unless it's blow dried. But generally speaking, the wet hair is very, very weak. That's why you really need to be gentle when you detangle your hair. But anyway, put your hair in big twist, rinse the conditioner out with the twist still in it, then move to styling. Okay? Then move to styling. Okay. Thank you, Pretty Natural. I appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Somebody asked a question about how many strands does your hair shed per day. Be on the lookout for a YouTube video that's coming up next week that's going to show how many hair strands, what shed hair should look like on average. I'm using the word on average because average is, everyone is different. On average, your hair can shed about 100 strands per day. Did you hear me say 100? Yes, the general range is 50 to 150. So your hair sheds a lot of strands. A lot of times, if you're wearing your hair out, the hair sheds and you don't see it because it kind of disappears in the wind. But yeah, on average, it's about anywhere from 50 to 150 strands. Now, what happens with us, because we don't comb our hair every day, some of us have hairstyles, or even if our hair is curly like this, the hair is shedding. But depending on your texture, depending on your curl pattern, the hair sheds, but it may not physically leave the hair shaft. It may still be in hair, and you won't see it until you actually wash your hair, which is why when people get braids or they get a protective style, they get afraid when they actually start when they actually take their braids out, because they feel like their hair is coming out. I have a video that I'm going to show you. I kept my hair in cornrows, I think for about a month. I think it was a month. And I kept the shed hair so that you can see just how much shed hair it actually was. I don't even think it was a month. Maybe it was 3 weeks as compared to how much hair comes out when I wash my hair once a week. So yes, you're welcome. So it is a lot of hair that comes out, but it's a normal amount. Now, you should know what your normal is, because everyone's normal is different with shedding hair. So if your normal looks abnormal, then that's when you may have a hair loss condition called telogen effluvium, which is abnormal shedding. Abnormal shedding, the hair comes out much more than normal, but everyone's normal is different. So if you feel like your hair is shedding too much, then you may have that hair loss condition called telogen effluvium. And telogen effluvium is the disruption of the normal hair cycle. So normally your hair grows and sheds in cycles. There's an anagen phase, which is a growing phase. Then it's a transition phase. The growing phase, your hair is growing like 80% of the time your hair is growing. It's or 80 or 85%. Then it's going to transition for a couple weeks where the hair actually detaches from its blood supply. The blood supply is actually what causes your hair to grow. So when it detaches from the blood supply, then it stops growing. Then it falls out. That's what it should do. It falls out, but there's a new hair strand coming in right behind it. That's the normal growth phase. When it's disrupted, when more hair is coming out, that's when That's when you have a actual hair loss disorder, and usually that is temporary. That happens when, if you're stressed out, for example, it happens when your hormones change, like if you're pregnant or if you're on a certain type of medication. Good stress, bad stress, you're about to get married, which is a good type of stress, so to speak, or it's a joyful event, but the hair may come out because you're completely stressed out. So that's a different type of stress, but generally speaking, your hair sheds all the time. Again, I'm going to put a video up next week on that's going to talk a little bit more on shedding. Um, let's see. Wait a minute, Miss Evelyn. If your hair is short, should you detangle with conditioner and not twist? Yes. So if your hair is short, if you don't need to go through that process of putting 1,000 twists in it, then no, you don't have to do it. You can just detangle with your conditioner and not twist it if your hair is short. That's really for people who have a lot of hair like me and they need to detangle the hair, and they detangle it, and then they wash their hair out, and then they have this big fro, and then hair dries out pretty quickly from water, and then the wet hair gets dry, then they have to go through the process to detangle it again, and that can lead to breakage. So anyway, no, you don't have to go through that process, Miss Evelyn. Now, Tanya, in terms of age affect the rate of growth, absolutely, age affects the rate of growth of hair. So our hair growth can start to slow down in general as early as 40, generally speaking. Now, that is the general rule of thumb. Now, usually my personal opinion in terms of our hair slowing down has a lot to do with what we're doing to our bodies, has a lot to do with what we're eating or what we're not eating, or what we're drinking and what we're not drinking. So I give this example all the time of my mother-in-law, who is like a health nut. She is just fabulous. She's in her late 60s and her hair is fine. But a lot of times it varies from person to person. So we're all created the same, but our bodies respond differently. So if your hair is, if it is slowing down, it may not just be age. Age may be a factor, but usually it's not the only factor. It is what you're eating, what you're not eating, what you're doing to your scalp. That's also why, I don't know if you know about these follicle stimulating growth drops. This is one of the products that I created that will help to grow your hair. So this is like what I call vitamins in a bottle. It goes directly on your scalp. It gets directly into your bloodstream to stimulate growth, among other things. So if you feel like your rate of growth is slowing down, this is something that I would consider. I also suggest, in addition to this, I do have a product line, but y'all know I keep it real. I never say hair growth is in a bottle. So yes, what's in a bottle helps, but focusing on what you're doing, focusing on your body will help to normalize your rate of growth. Okay, so I think I got that. I got one more. I'm way over. Thanks y'all for hanging in with me. Hold on, let me check in on my team over here. How we doing? Okay. All right. So I have one more thing to talk about in terms of growing your hair out. And then we are going to wrap up because I am way past time, y'all. Protective styles. I think most of you all know about protective styles. Protective styles are styles that are, once you do them, you don't do anything to your hair. So protective styles could be braids with or without extensions. You can cornrow your hair and slap a wig on it. You can two-strand twist your natural hair and don't do anything to it. That would be a protective style. So protective styles protect your ends, basically, because your ends, when your hair breaks off and you don't get length retention, it's from the ends. So protective styles are supposed to protect your ends from breaking off. So people ask me about protective styles. Do I believe in protective styles? Yes, I do, because this whole process of combing, even though your grooming is a normal part of hair care, because our hair is so dry, it can also lead to hair breaking off. So if you are doing a protective style, you braid it, you leave it alone, every inch that you grow here, you're going to keep, because your hair is not snapping off from all of the hairstyle choices. When I was a child, I didn't know that I was a hairstylist, but I had an obsession with my hair when I was a child, and my mom didn't know how to do hair, and she would put my hair in these ugly plaits. I called them connector plaits. She would put a part down the middle of my head and did one plait and connected it. Oh, it was just horrible. I think I'm still traumatized by it now. But anyway, she didn't know how to do hair, but she left my hair alone. She didn't have a lot of fancy products, none of that. She just plaited it and left it alone. She probably washed it once a month, I think. But my hair grew all the way down my back because she left it alone. It wasn't breaking off. So I always use that example when I talk about protective styles, doing styles where you leave your hair alone. So I do encourage you, if you are trying to grow your hair out, then I encourage you to consider a protective style if you are trying to grow it out. Now, protective styles are helpful until they become harmful. So a protective style does not mean that you don't put any moisturizer in your hair. The drawback of the protective style is we become lazy. Protective styles should be worn in moderation. Protective styles should not be your signature. They should not be your go-to, because protective styles, they will make you lazy because you don't want to do anything. So protective styles are helpful until they become harmful, till you start getting braids. You love the braids, but you get the braids, then you have a headache because they're too tight, or you don't have any edges because they're too tight, and then you get traction alopecia. Or you have braids and you don't do anything to your hair, and your hair gets super dry, and you take it off and part of it is breaking off and part of it is shedding, and you can't tell the difference because your hair has completely dried out because you haven't been spraying any moisturizer to your hair. So the fifth thing is to consider protective styles. I'm going into a protective style soon. I don't do braids and stuff like that. I'll just cornrow my hair and slap a wig on it. So the next live next week, I don't know what I'll look like then. But I may just slap a wig on it, or I may do two-strand twists and leave it alone. But for those of you who want to grow their hair out, and if you have length like this, consider doing a protective style. Do it in moderation. So if you get braids, make sure they're not too tight. Make sure it's not pulling your hairline. Make sure if you get braids, do what I call a braid holiday. So if you kept your hair in braids for a month, wear your hair out for a month. That's going to give you time to deep condition it. That's going to give you time to maximize moisture. Okay, y'all, I have been talking for an hour and a half. I could keep talking. My husband is here, and he's giving me the I'm hungry eyes. So we are going to go and get something to eat. Let me make sure I have answered all your questions. Oh, for those of you, I forgot to tell you that my line, the Curl House line, particularly for the person who I talked about the drops, for Christmas, I have 25 days of 25% off. So if you're interested, and any Curl House products, the products is designed for healthy hair and scalp. The Hair Restoration Collection is the collection I have out now, designed for healthy hair and scalp. Everything is 25% off. And I think, let me see, let me post that. I think that's all. Did I answer all y'all questions? Next week, we are going to talk. I think next week we're going to do something fun. Oh, oops. Sorry. Next week, we're going to do something fun. So make sure you have on your exercise clothes next week, because next week is all about blood circulation, growing hair out, and we're going back to the body. We're going back to the body. So next week, I will not sit here and talk for an hour and a half, but y'all get ready to get your exercise on. Okay? I think that's all. You are welcome. Thank you very much, Marie. I appreciate it. I think I got all the questions. Thank you, Shell. You got my email, so I'm looking forward to hearing from you. How long should you keep a protective style in your hair? On average, I say about 4 weeks. If you keep some styles 4 to 6 weeks, like if you have braids, for example, normally people will keep them a little bit longer, but just make sure if you keep it longer than 4 weeks, or even while you're in the protective style, make sure that you are cleansing your scalp. Make sure you're cleansing your scalp, and make sure you are still putting some type of moisturizer on your hair, even in the protective style. So do not neglect your hair, your natural hair, in a protective style. So anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks, depending on what style you have. And I think I answered all the questions. If I didn't, I listed my email, info@curlhouse.com. You can send me an email, and I think I'm ready to go. Thanks, guys. I appreciate you all. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Love you all, and I will see you all next week. Stay fabulous.